That was not pretty. That was ugly. It was stressful. But especially in the NFL playoffs, a win is a win. And the Philadelphia Eagles are moving on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs inside the NFC playoff bracket with the stressful 22-10 win over the Green Bay Packers. You're watching Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making this show a part of your day. So much to recap here with what transpired in this game. And with the way that it started, you thought, oh man, are the Eagles going to beat the brakes off of the Green Bay Packers at home? 4:30 p.m. kickoff. Fans were tailgating all day. The atmosphere was incredible. And then right from the start of the game, the literal first play, opening kickoff for Green Bay, Keyshawn Nixon gets smacked by Oren Burks, fumbles the football, Eagles recover, and then a couple of plays later after a big Saquon run, Jalen Hurts, with great offensive line protection in front of him, able to find Jahan Dotson in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. It's always the under-the-radar players who are coming through in the playoffs. And then the Eagles go on to pick Jordan Love off twice in the first half. Brandon McManus, the Packers kicker who went to Temple University and kicked at the Link every home game, missed a 38-yard field goal in that first half alone, but the Eagles were only able to manufacture 7 points off of those giveaways. And so the Eagles in the first half won the turnover battle 3-0. Green Bay missed a field goal, yet the Eagles could not put the Packers away. And so the more that this game progressed, the more you're thinking, Eagles are dominating. The defense led by Vic Fangio, incredible performance today. But are they going to let the Packers steal this game? Are they going to suffer a kick in the stones loss and choke this one away at home when they have this wonderful opportunity with the most talented, deepest, most well-rounded roster in the NFL and squander that? Luckily, the Eagles didn't do that. And part of the identity of this football team all year long, they wear teams down throughout the duration of 4 quarters. And I thought Philadelphia early, Philadelphia late, and this is really a credit to their health and conditioning program, how they practice. They wore Green Bay down. And you never want to see injuries happen for your team or the opposition, but the Packers were suffering injuries left and right, all throughout the game. And I thought a big reason for that was how Philadelphia was manhandling them with their offensive line and their defensive line, flying around on defense, making big hits. A big injury for the Eagles in this game that is going to loom extremely large for this football team is Nakobe Dean going out with a knee injury. Carted off in the first half, didn't look good. Eagles immediately ruled him out. Couldn't really put pressure on that knee. You're hoping it's not a torn ACL. It could be, or something else with that knee. Oren Burks came in and didn't play poorly, but Oren Burks is more of a special teamer, as evidenced by the fumble forced on the opening kickoff. In coverage, he can be a really big liability. So as the Eagles advance here, not having Nakobe Dean, who had more than 100 tackles, one of the backbones of their defense, had a breakout campaign, instinctual player against the run, against the pass, that could be a huge loss for this Eagles team moving forward. This was not a game that was a pretty game. You look at the Eagles' offense. Does Jalen Hurts need to be better in the divisional round? No doubt about it. The Eagles are able to score 22 points, 10 in the first. They started fast, huge key to the game. They score 6 in the third, 6 in the fourth. Jake Elliott missed another PAT, and there was a stretch there where Hurts didn't complete a pass for about a quarter. Was there a little bit of rust after having not played for about a month? I think there was. But I also think that the Packers did a really good job defensively of covering everything downfield. Jalen Hurts had protection. Jalen Hurts had time to survey the field, but really nobody was open. And he finishes the day 13-21, 131 yards. He does throw 2 touchdowns. The aforementioned touchdown to Jahan Dotson, another one to Dallas Goedert, which really helped to break this game open, where Hurts, great quarterbacking. 7 Packers along the line of scrimmage. He made a little bit of a check at the line, took the snap, got rid of it quickly, good catch by Goddard, and then he just rumbled, looking like Rob Gronkowski en route to the paint. And getting Dallas Goedert back, we saw how he played last week against Dallas in this game. It's just another weapon for this Eagles offense, for Kellen Moore to use at his disposal. 4 catches, 47 yards, some clutch grabs in this football game. This was a game, I think, where the Eagles just needed to win it, and they can figure everything else out from there. And I think in this game, Hurts knocks off and shakes off the rust. The Eagles couldn't really gather any momentum on the offensive side of the ball. They didn't really have many long manufactured drives in which they can eat a bunch of clock. They didn't capitalize off those Packers giveaways, which led to the Packers staying in this game and making it closer than it actually was. But Philadelphia really did dominate this game from start to finish. It just wasn't evidenced by the scoreboard. Now, as you look ahead to the divisional round, if the Buccaneers on Sunday night beat the Washington Commanders, the Eagles will host the Bucs in the second round of the playoffs. If the Commanders win, we'll see what happens on Monday night between the Vikings and the Rams, because the Detroit Lions, the number 1 seed, will get the lowest seed. But this past game is going to have to be more crisp. It's unfortunate that Hurts suffered that concussion when he did, because he carved up Pittsburgh. Eagles offense was humming against Washington. Suffers the concussion. He's out for a month. And I think we saw the ill effects of that rust, timing being on and off. Also remember that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they didn't practice with Hurts this week. They were injured as well. The one constant continues to be Saquon Barkley. And he rushes for 25 carries, 119 yards, 4.8 yards per carry. I thought in that first half, the Eagles got away from Saquon a little bit, and then they went back to him, and that's what helped them ice this game away. He had an opportunity at a 76-yard touchdown at the end of the game, which would have popped the lid off of the entire city of Philadelphia, but instead he slid down, and he didn't take it to the end zone for that long touchdown. But those are some offensive thoughts. The defense really helped to win you this football game. Jordan Love picked off 3 times, 20 of 33, 212 yards, 6.4 yards per completion, a passer rating of 41.5. He throws those 3 picks. One to Quinyon Mitchell, his first career pick. That was the latter one. One to Zach Bond. And then one to Darius Slay. And this Eagles defensive line, they were dominant against the Packers offensive line that came into this game as a good offensive line unit. They suffer a couple of injuries, but they could not block Jalen Carter. They could not block Nolan Smith. Continued development from these young players up front in Carter and Smith. And what a year for Nolan Smith. 2 sacks in this game. He had 1 sack as a rookie, 6.5 in the regular season. He was good against the run and against the pass in this game. And so to see a well-rounded, everybody contributing type of win for the Eagles in the playoffs, you just had to win this one. And now you advance to the second round, and the pressure is not on you any longer. You ease that pressure at the very least a little bit, and I think that could serve this team well. Also, is anybody going to talk about this in the national media? How Nick Sirianni beat Matt LaFleur? How Nick Sirianni's team was more buttoned up and more disciplined than Matt LaFleur's team, which committed so many penalties. They were sloppy. They became unhinged late in this game. Probably not, but we'll talk about it here on the show because we always like to keep it real here on the program. More to get to here with our Eagles Now postgame show. Our sponsor today, our friends at Game Time. If you want to go to this Eagles divisional playoff game, they will host at the link regardless of the opponent. Be sure to download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time will give you the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. And what's cool, you can monitor the prices all throughout this next week because prices drop as the event gets closer. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And thanks to Game Time Picks, they give you the best seats without having to go through thousands of different options. It's not just an app for sporting events, by the way. You can go to concerts, comedy shows, theater events, and a whole lot more. So here's the deal. You get the bird's eye view of the link. You get the view from your seat from the link. Divisional round tickets going to go off the shelves like crazy, but Game Time will have plenty of tickets available for you. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Nakobe Dean, by the way, got an injury update on him. Leaving on crutches and in a brace. We will see what Nick Sirianni's update is on Nakobe Dean, but for him to get carted off and then ruled out so quickly, that's just not a good sign for his availability moving forward. And this Eagles passing defense could suffer a little bit because of that. Also a good note coming out of this game, the Dallas Cowboys are still the only team to lose to a 7 seed in the history of the NFL. Since the NFL expanded to a 14-team playoff field in 2020, the 7 seed is now 1-9 on Wild Card Weekend. The 2023 Packers were the only winner. And all week I had said, this game is not going to be easy. This game is going to be difficult. The Packers are very talented. They're deep. They have one of the top coaches in the NFL in Matt LaFluer. Their defense has drastically improved from last year. And that's exactly what this game was. That Packers defense caused a lot of issues for Jalen Hurts and this Eagles offense. And Philadelphia offensively in this game just could never hop into a groove. And so this game really did come down to the fourth quarter. We were sweating it out. You were sweating it out. You could say you had confidence all day in the Eagles, but you knew this game got a little bit hairy because you're thinking about the scenario of Eagles win the turnover battle 4-0. Packers miss a field goal. That's basically winning the turnover battle 5-0. But when you don't score points off those giveaways, you open up the door and you leave it ajar for a team like Green Bay with that talent to capture some momentum and then potentially stun Philadelphia. Luckily, that didn't happen because what Vic Fangio has done this year has been absolutely incredible and impeccable. Like, this Eagles defense a year ago was one of the worst in the NFL. One of the worst that I had ever seen. They couldn't get off the field on third downs. They were awful in the red zone. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't stop the run. They gave up explosive plays. They were so poorly coached. And I know Howie Roseman made some really marquee additions to this Eagles defense, signing Zach Bond, drafting Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. But you've also seen these young players take massive leaps. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Reed Blankenship, Howie brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Huge move. But it's really just a collective organizational effort. From Howie finding the players, to the coaching staff developing the players, to Vic Fangio coaching these players up. So many times you see coaches get fired on talented teams because they always play under par and they never reach expectations. That's what poor coaching is. That's what poor coaching leads to. Yet Vic Fangio has just coached his ass off this year. Kellen Moore has as well. Nick Sirianni deserves credit for that. Managed the game flawlessly here today. And that's why I like this Eagles team just as a whole, because they're so complete. They're so well coached, and they have a lot of talent, and they have special players on both sides of the ball. So my player of the game, probably Dallas Goedert. The long run after the catch for the touchdown won the game for the Eagles. It got a huge weight off their shoulders. The mean stiff arm on Valentine was just such a physical FU type of play. And the fans needed that. The Eagles needed it because things were starting to get tight. Things were starting to get a little bit silent at Lincoln Financial Field. And so you win this game. You get rid of the thought of playoff demons. And now you make some offensive adjustments. You come out next week. You start humming. And one thing that the Eagles defense has continued to do all year, force a shit ton of turnovers. And so what I like about this game, Eagles started fast. They won the turnover battle. They beat the Packers up from a physical standpoint. And they just outlasted Green Bay. And now they're moving on to the divisional round. Good win for Philadelphia. I'm trying to check to see if I have a Nakobe Dean injury update yet. I do not. But Nick Sirianni, how about this? 51-23 during his time with the Eagles. He has the number 1 winning percentage among active head coaches. 3rd highest winning percentage in the Super Bowl era. And now his team will be playing in the divisional round for the right to make it to the Final Four next week. Guy can coach. He's a good coach. And the Eagles win this game after getting a CC- performance from their quarterback, a CC- performance from their entire offense, Defense goes A+, special teams A+, outside of Jake Elliott, missing that PAT. And coaching, I thought, was an A too. Are you pumped up about this Eagles dub? If that's the case, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and type Go Birds. The Eagles are moving on, and we can't wait to cover it here on Eagles Now. During our watch party, we surpassed 99K subs. We're shooting for 100K this week. Let's fly.